Hey, good morning, Show-Iteers. Welcome to another episode of Show It Live. I'm Liz Langford, and this is Todd Watson
Hey, how's it
joining
going?
us. Good,
Yeah.
how are you?
Oh man, so good. It's Tuesday, and
Tuesdays are good days. We love Tuesdays around here.
yeah, but this is a big Tuesday. I mean, this is a day that Google has on the calendar for
Right?
everyone. So
Right?
there's
Mobile getting.
yeah. I woke up and I was like, I reached over to grab my phone and I was thinking, it feels a little bit different. I think I'm going to get different search results when I use this. I mean, it's a big deal. Right?
It is a big deal. And luckily it's a big deal that you don't actually have to be afraid of, because there are lots of things that you can do to make your site mobile friendly. And we're going to walk you through all of those today. But we're missing a familiar face today. My normal co-host Field Denny is actually at the Connect Retreat at Windshape Retreat Centers in Rome, Georgia, with a bunch of other photography couples. He and his wife Carrie are photographers together. They specialize in film, and they've joined Zach and Jody Gray, and Caitlin and Michael Alsup are there, and just having a great time and learning and connecting, finding out how to be better partners in the photography business. And you were out of town last week.
I just got back from Kentucky, and and it was my first time in well, I would want to say Louisville, but I learned that it's like
Louisville,
something like that. It's something along those
Run
lines.
it all together.
If anybody that's from there, they can maybe help us pronounce that. But there was a couple of different pronunciations. That was something along the lines of wall.
So yeah, when we hear Louisville Slugger, that's not the correct way to pronounce.
And I actually went to the Louisville Slugger factory where they make the bats, and we got to see them like actually make the bats that the pros use. So that was one of the many.
How did you get all this data? Every time I talk to Todd, he's like, and I did this, and I did this. I don't know how you accomplished so much in 4.5 days.
Yeah, I don't know how we did that either, but it was a really fun conference, and the people there like really took care of us, but they took us to like a lot of Kentucky experiences. So
that's cool.
We went to like Keeneland, which is like one of the race tracks, and I got to actually watch horse races, which that was my first time ever doing that. And we're back. So, I think Google didn't like us talking about Mobilegeddon or something, because they just kicked us out of Google Hangout or whatever. And so
sometimes technology doesn't work perfectly, but that's okay. Nothing to be afraid of. And I don't think we said anything that was super important, but it was really interesting. Todd was telling me about his trip to Kentucky last week, and you were saying that you actually went to the very first horse race you'd ever experienced.
Yeah. So we went to the horse race, and I got to learn all about that. And it was for those who haven't been to the Kentucky Derby is about to happen, and it's
do the women wear big hats just to regular races?
Yeah, they had big hats there, and we had mint juleps, and the Kentucky experience.
It's very nice.
Yeah. So is there anybody in chat that is from like the Midwest that would know a little bit about what
that are Kentuckyite? What do they call people from Kentuckians?
Yeah, I don't know.
Something like that. Well, regardless of whether or not you've been to Kentucky, you've probably been on your mobile phone and searched a site before. And that kind of leads us into this Mobilegeddon thing and what it is and why Google's doing it. Yeah. So Todd is far more techie than I am.
Mm.
Todd, what is Mobilegeddon? What's happening with Google today?
Yeah, it's become a big news story, and so like it's always fun to like break down the news behind the news. But basically, what they've announced is that they're making modifications to their search engine to say how search results come. And one of the big things that they're saying is that they're going to prioritize sites that are mobile friendly. But the key things to understand here is it's specifically for mobile search results.
Okay, so this doesn't affect desktop.
Yeah,
at all.
So being mobile friendly isn't going to affect your desktop site. Okay. So, it can be a little bit scarier than that. So, but mobile is really important because, a huge percentage of search results are happening on mobile.
Everybody's got one of these in their pocket.
So it is super important for your mobile search results that your site shows up. And if you've noticed in the last few months, when you search, you'll see a little mobile-friendly thing next to search results. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh, I haven't noticed that.
Yeah.
I should be more observant.
Yeah, you should Google. Here, let's see. Let me see if I can pull something up.
All right.
Let's see if we Google.
So Google's making all of these changes as of today, and it's really important that your site is mobile-friendly. And the reason that they're doing this, right, is because of relevancy. They want you to be able to, when you search on mobile, actually find a site that has the information that you need and that you can actually access and use. There's nothing more frustrating than coming to a site on mobile and it's all really, really tiny and you can't see anything. And if you click a button, it ends up clicking the wrong button and what you don't want. And so there's a couple of ways that you can actually test your site, right? And one really important specific way that it's called the mobile friendly test. Yes. Is that right, from Google?
Yeah. So tell
me about that.
I just did a search on your Google and I didn't see the actual like little mobile friendly thing come up. So maybe the reason that you haven't seen it is because I don't know. It's showing for me, so I don't know what Google does.
Well, maybe Todd gets better things from Google before I do. I don't know.
Maybe they decided to change that up for today where they're not going to tell you anymore. It's just the way it is. I don't know.
Maybe that's true.
Maybe that was the warning.
It is the way it is now. But if you want to test your site, you can actually go ahead and Google the Google Mobile Friendly Test. And this is a page that you can come up to. And I think JT can actually pull up my computer here. And we can put in, or you can put in the URL that you want to test and analyze it. And a lot of sites pass and some sites surprisingly don't pass, but we're going to walk you through some things that you can do to make sure that your site does pass. There's something else called Speed Insights, and that kind of lets you know how fast your site loads, right? But it's not nearly as important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's important always that so Google's also saying, so the big deal about today is the mobile friendly.
Okay.
So that's the big
So that's
deal.
what we want to worry about today.
Yeah. But with that, it's also exposed their tool called Speed Insights that gives you lots of help about how to improve your overall site speed, because they actually use this, and they have been using this for a long time, to prioritize results based on sites that are going to load faster for mobile and that are going to have the appropriate content, something like that. So part of failing on the mobile test is going to encourage you to go to Speed Insights to learn how to fix it, because Speed Insights has always provided those tools to say like, hey, you should probably try this or that.
So that's been around. That's not a new thing.
That's something that Google's been using for their testing. So so we can jump right in and look at a mobile friendly test if you want.
Okay. What should we test?
Whoever you'd like. Would we talk maybe Caitlin James?
Yeah.
She just launched a new site. So
let's test Caitlin's site. Let's see what happens. Analyzing. This is very exciting. I have a feeling it's going to pass with flying colors.
Maybe like we pre-tested this.
We may have checked this out already, but this is a great tool that you can go ahead and use and type in your URL and make sure that it passes through. And some of you you're using Showit, and you might also be using WordPress, say for a blog if you're a blogger, and so you may also want to go ahead and test your blog site as well. And I think there's even a plugin that we'll share with you in a minute that you can use for that. And here it comes. Caitlin's site is mobile friendly.
Yeah, and so you see there
Caitlin,
that it shows a preview of that. Now, one of the key things too about this is that this mobile friendly test is not on a site basis. It's actually on a
Oh.
page by page basis.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
just testing your homepage is like a great start,
Okay.
but like you might want to also test a few of the pages that you might be getting inbound links
The
from,
interior
things
pages.
that you might find important. So,
Okay.
for instance, if you navigated around and wanted to go to like galleries or the about section or something like that,
Okay.
then you would just copy that URL and paste it in there and then say test this page.
Okay.
And so you kind of want to know that all of your pages are mobile friendly, or
Okay.
especially the important ones that people might be linking to.
Okay.
Obviously, they're going to be linking to your homepage. You know, like
Right.
if someone says, "Oh, check out Caitlin James." You want
Right.
that.
We
you
want to make sure the homepage.
Yeah, we want to
works.
make sure the homepage. That's the start. But
Okay.
it's worth checking a few of your pages and
Okay.
saying, "Are these all mobile friendly?" Because it's on a page by page basis.
Okay. And when you're thinking about actually going and creating one of these, if you're going to say go and use our custom mobile tool that you can use the drag and drop designer to create your own custom mobile site, is it important that you have all of the information that you have in your desktop site, or are you rethinking about it differently when we do a mobile design, that people are sort of getting that information in differently and maybe we don't need all of it? We don't want to overwhelm them. We want to make it easier to digest the information.
Yeah. So
Thoughts on that?
for the most part, it's good to have your sites parallels, your desktop and your mobile site.
Okay.
But as Google is fine with your mobile site having a different experience, and so
Okay.
having if you decide that you want to pare down some information or keep it simpler or straightforward, or include more on a page, that's going to be okay.
You can do that.
Yeah, but
Okay.
but yeah, the important part is that you that you format it in a way that's going to be
Okay.
easily readable,
Okay.
navigatable, and all that kind of stuff.
All right. So bigger buttons, right, that are easy to touch, so you're not accidentally touching 2 or 3 things at the same time. And,
Yeah, correct.
because that all leads to a poor experience
Yes.
for the user. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the plugin for WordPress. I think our friend Carrie Swales over at Photography Awesome Sauce had a recommendation for something called
WP Touch plugin.
Okay.
And what is it called? WP Touch? Yes.
WP Touch plugin, and we'll have JT actually post that link up inside the chat. And the chat's over here on the other side of me. This is my left-hand side.
Yeah.
So your right-hand side, the chat is over on there, and you can ask questions, and JT will post up that link. But that is for if you're using a WordPress.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people that are using a WordPress blog. And for those that don't know, that Showit hosts WordPress sites now along with your Showit site. And so if you haven't done that, we're happy to do that. But if you install this plugin, it's a great way. If your current theme that you're using doesn't have touch and mobile friendly stuff, that you can activate this plugin and have it control the mobile experience, which is a nice way to go about it. It's more of potentially a stopgap as you improve what your mobile experience is for your blog.
Okay.
But it's good and quick way to take care of that.
And you want to think about all of that, right? You want to think about all the pages inside of your custom mobile site, and then your blog as well. And so that's the way that you can cover both of those. And it's easy and simple to do that and install that plugin.
And that's a great question too. A lot of people have asked us like, oh, what does this mean for my site?
Right.
Like, is my site from Showit mobile friendly? Like, a lot of those kind of questions are going to come up. What we've found, we've tested a lot of sites, and we're going through, figuring out what the best things are to do.
Yeah.
There's obviously some things that we're working on to improve that across the board for all sites. But one of the things that we have seen is people that create a desktop site and haven't created a mobile site, they sometimes pass the mobile friendly test because the things that they created for their desktop site, for instance, the size of the buttons and whatever else, are good enough to work on mobile. So they'll just pass the way they are.
Okay.
But what we really what we believe in is a custom mobile experience, which is why we spent a lot of time this last year working on that. And so we'd encourage you to do a custom mobile. So we want to talk a little bit about, you have your Showit site as is. It may or may not pass.
Right.
It's still worth considering, at least converting some pages or some, especially your home page, and maybe
Okay.
you're about to at least get some of your stuff moved over to a custom mobile,
Okay.
so that it's geared specifically for a mobile experience.
Because what Showit does is it auto creates, right,
Mhm.
a HTML5 version of your site that can be seen on mobile. But the custom mobile experience is really and truly custom. You can make it entirely mobile friendly for your user. And we wanted to actually share a couple of examples of that. Caitlin, who we talked about and we did the mobile friendly test with earlier, has a really beautiful custom mobile site that was designed by Jen Olmsted. And and we can actually pull up Caitlin's site on my phone. There's this really cool thing. If you've got the new iPhone, and I think the new operating system called Reflector. And so we'll see if this works. Again, I am not techie. The guys over here at Showit, they're the techie ones. So let's see if we can get Reflector to pull up and I can show you Caitlin's site. There we go. And then enter full screen.
Did you actually share to it yet?
I guess I am super not techie at all with the way that this works. But
well, while we do this,
yeah.
Why doesn't JT? We talked about how you create a custom mobile.
Yeah.
We prepared a 1-minute video.
We do.
That we kind of said, like, here's the basics. Here's how easy it is. Here's what we want to do. So why don't we go ahead and show that video?
Okay.
And you have that ready to go, JT? Yeah. Okay.
And we get to hear Todd's voice on it.
Oh my goodness,
voiceover.
yeah. But it's just a quick overview of like how you create a custom mobile site. And I think it's only a minute. And so here's a quick view of like how you do it.
Take a look at this, guys.
We'll start by clicking on the new button, Create Mobile Site. Name that new plus site and give it a subdomain that we can use to view on a desktop, but won't be used once we have it completely configured, as explained later. We now have a copy of our site's primary style group with the layers automatically placed on a vertical stage. The stage starts at a size optimized for most devices, but in the Style Group tab, we can customize the size of this stage to make it longer, along with the settings for how the edges of the site will show up with a border color or a tiled image. We can now start to rearrange the content using tools like the new Group Resize to make things like text and navigation bigger for easier viewing and touch navigation, and swap in galleries designed specifically for mobile. This design process takes advantage of the easy drag and drop customizations in Showit that you know and love. Publish this site and view on your desktop and mobile device at the plus site domain you set up earlier. When ready to make the mobile site live, go back to the desktop site and do a full publish. In the mobile settings, choose Custom Mobile Plus Site and select that new mobile site. With Showit Page Match, linking directly to a URL will automatically load either the desktop or mobile view for the appropriate device where the page names match between a desktop and mobile site. When adding new pages or other style groups to a desktop site, the new Copy to Plus Site button will easily copy that content to your mobile site.
All right, that video was amazing. If I don't.
It was really, and the voiceover work on that. But it is simple to go ahead and create a custom mobile version, and you have to think a little bit differently because Showit, when you're working on your desktop site, doesn't scroll up and down. But on mobile, it does scroll up and down. And so you're thinking a little bit differently about your design and about the experience. And there's a lot of control that you have. You can change the length of your page and how much information that you have on the page. Let's go ahead and look at Caitlin's real quickly. We finally figured out how to put this up. Not me, the guys. Figured out how to get this up on the site. Caitlin's mobile site is great because it really mirrors what's happening on her desktop site. She's got a great splash page that you come into. Right away, you get to see a photo of Caitlin and meet her, and then you can scroll through and she's got really large areas that you can click on, and I think that that's why Google loves her site, why it really passes that mobile friendly test. And you can link over to her blog or you can look at images. One of the important things I think as you're designing your mobile site is the imagery that you're putting on there. How many images do you recommend that we put on, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, this is the hard part for any site, but paring down to like 10 or 12 images in like scrolling galleries and some of those things so that they load quickly and loading images that are appropriate for that. But then there's also a gallery that we have in there that's what we call like a tiled gallery.
Okay.
And with that gallery, it gives you a lot more opportunity to infinite scroll, if you will. So like if you want to have a lot of images, like if you want to have a gallery where you're going to show 40 images, for instance, it's a better one to use that one because you're they're gonna scroll down more and more and more.
Okay,
and see
they
more
don't individually have to load, the
Yeah.
whole gallery loads instead.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
going to be a lot faster. But a lot of like your initial portfolio, like the front page, those things you want to be able to pare down as much as possible and just
Okay.
hit a few images so that your
Okay.
site runs super fast and does that.
Okay.
We had a couple of questions in the chat
Yeah.
asking like, if I don't want to do this, does somebody do that? Like that's a big question. Like, oh man, I don't want to deal with this. Can somebody else do it? There's we'd encourage you to jump into the Show Tiers group. There's
Mhm.
actually a lot of other Show Tiers that have enjoyed figuring out how to do this,
Yes.
and we'll pull that off. So I know there's a lot of our designers,
Mhm.
like Jason Taves has done a bunch of really great ones.
Right.
But Em and Josh
Mhm.
and Jeremy Ellsworth and
Yeah.
Christy Maga.
Yeah. If you get into
There's
the
a lot.
group,
There's a lot in there. And it's you can ask them around. We encourage you to try it and work on it a little bit yourself, because it's really not that hard. I mean, if you
Yeah.
watch the video,
Right.
you bring some things in and you move it around and
Right.
and make it friendly. Now, the reason people have asked us, like, why doesn't it just automatically do that? And there were some decisions that we had to make along the way of like, if something's truly custom, it makes it really difficult to like decide for you where
Right,
you want your
right.
content to be. And I think there's something that's very good about being intentional about
Mhm.
your experience on mobile, being intentional
It's very
about
purposeful.
about what you want to do. And so we believe that it's a great way to have something that's custom and feels really good. It doesn't feel
Thrown
like,
together.
it doesn't feel like blocks, like
Right.
a block here, block here, block here, that just all feel the same. I mean, if you're just pulling up the site for Adam
Yeah.
Hommerding, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So if JT pulls this up,
Adam is a portrait photographer back in, I think it's Michigan is where Adam is. And we featured his site a few months ago back on our Instagram account because we just loved the way that it looked. But he did this exact thing that you're talking about, Todd. He specifically designed his site to be mobile friendly and to be a unique experience. This is different than what it will look like on his desktop, and is very intentionally designed for mobile. And we love the colors. Again, I love that Adam has a picture of himself right there. It's very inviting. It's very, I think, energizing, and kind of gets the point of his brand across. And I love that you can have scrolling galleries like this. And he even did it on a diagonal.
yeah,
And we saw at WPPI that people love that you can
yeah.
take pictures and you can tilt them and show it and make
I think
things
it's actually
move.
just covered. So
Wait, oh, maybe.
so it's actually a
So it's
straight
not
right to left,
actually- Okay.
but it's got a cover.
It may.
And so it's got this diagonal cover,
Yeah.
which exposes different parts of the photo as it scrolls across there.
And makes it look diagonal.
Yeah, and it makes it look diagonal, but it creates a really fun experience.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of thing that like is
I love
totally
this.
custom and makes it feel unique to this site. And
Now, tell me a little bit about, you mentioned a while ago at the beginning of the show that this is only mobile. Does that affect tablets or only mobile phones?
yeah, so tablets are actually considered desktops in
Oh, okay.
Google's
In the world of Google.
yeah, in their ranking algorithms and all that. So
Okay.
when it's talking about mobile results, it's talking about like phone size and smaller. So they have their dimensions and whatever else that they're talking about. But
Okay.
yeah, so their search results are going to be desktop is still a tablet.
Okay.
They're lumping those two together.
Okay. And one of the really cool things about our custom mobile designer from Showit is that you get to choose whether or not you want your custom mobile site to push out to tablets or only push to mobile phones. And so if you feel like the desktop site that you've designed is the experience you want someone to have on a tablet, you can choose when you do your full publish. And if you have questions about that, don't hesitate to ask in the group, or we'd be more than happy to answer those questions for you. And I think if you just search mobile conversion or custom mobile inside of the Show Tiers Facebook group, you'll be able to find a lot of those designers and people that are really, really good at this and are excited to help you. Sarah is in the chat, and Sarah has a question about, is there a point to having a splash page, or is it really just there as an enter button? I think some people use a splash page just for effect, for the beauty of it, for the experience of it. I think in Caitlin James' case, it had to do with continuity. If you view Caitlin's site on a desktop, her splash page actually has a video that runs in the background, and it sort of introduces you to Caitlin and Michael and their wedding experience. And so I think it was a continuity. Do you have anything about splash pages?
Yeah, that used to be a lot more common to have a splash page, and JT's pulling up here so you can see. This is Caitlin's desktop site, and this is what it looks like as you get there, and it has a nice, cool video that plays in the background. And I think it's a great experience. And I think that's something that you just have to evaluate when you talk about like building your site, is the experience that you want to create, because you know, if you're going to Google, like, you don't want a splash page because you want to get there, you want to search, and you want to get out.
Right.
If you're going for a photographer and you're wanting whoever comes to your site, you want them to have a certain feel and a certain experience. And I think everything about the way Caitlin designed her site was around having
that experience, and conveying who she is.
And so the splash page for her works because she wants to set the tone, you know, to come into the site, you know, like to enter. But you have to decide that on your own, whether
that's right for you. And that's the great thing about being able to create an entirely custom mobile site. You can decide. You can decide if a splash page is appropriate on your desktop, but you don't want it on mobile. You don't have to have it. Oh, Ben Turner's in the chat. We love Ben.
And he's saying that Google doesn't like splash pages.
Okay. But thanks for the heads up, Ben.
And I would agree that Google doesn't like it if you're like putting doors, you know, doorways. But again, I think that's going to also be about the experience that you're trying to create. And some of those things, you know, I think there's things, well.
Sometimes you should break the rules.
Yeah. So if you go to Speed Test Insights, you're also going to find that there's a lot of photographers that really break the rules.
Okay.
But why do you think they break the rules?
Because they're creative artists.
They want photos on their site, you know,
Right.
and one of the things that Speed Test is going to say is like, this has a lot of photos.
Right.
And you're like, well, of course.
Evidently.
Because you're a photographer and you want to have photos that there. So there's a little bit of like your industry and what you're trying to accomplish on your site. That's going to, you don't always have to follow exactly their rules. You know, like if you're going to follow their rules to a T, you'd end up with like a text only page potentially.
It'd be really boring.
Those are the ones that maybe would win. So
but nobody wants that, right? All right. So we showed you that video about creating your own Showit custom mobile site and the way that you can actually move over information from your desktop site and rearrange that and turn it into a custom mobile site. There's a couple of other ways that you could do it. You can work with the designer who can just take it off your plate and design it for you. Or you can take the approach that I did. And I went from a site that has, I think, maybe 8 or 9 interior pages to creating just a one-page site. It's actually 2 pages because when you fill out the contact form and hit submit, it takes you to a thank you page. But really all of my information is listed on a single page, and I'll have JT bring that up for you. And instead of dragging anything over from my desktop site, I just wanted to take the feel of the site and redesign it. And the tools and widgets that you have in your desktop designer for Showit, you also have in your custom mobile. So you can add boxes, you can add text boxes, just about anything that you can do in the desktop version, you can do in the mobile version. And we've even added in a couple of new mobile style groups for you that you can go and pull inside of Showit as a starting place, because it is nice to have a starting place.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Like, we're continuing to improve what the experience is, and you know, we felt like there's really great, just simple mobile designs. So if you want to go into, well, are you going to show your site first?
I was going to, but I think again I've done something technically that is messing everything up for JT. But that's okay. It is what it is. I'm just not super techie. But maybe if I just hand him my phone, he can fix it. It seems like it's
JT, because it's ready to go. She just
it's up. Yep, that's okay. That's all right. We all need more coffee over here at Showit. A little more caffeine.
So here we go. Here we go.
So here's my very plain and simple site. If you come to my site, I just took the same design that I have on my desktop site using a bunch of yellow because I like happy yellow. I added in one rotating gallery of images that's nice and large, and I like that it took up the entire space on the phone. Talked a little bit about who I am what I do, what investment is typical for my clients, because I think that information is really important if you are considering a photographer, and then information on how to contact me. And one of the cool things that you can do inside of Showit is you can actually make a call me button, or a place that you put your phone. You can make it a hyperlink, correct? That will actually call the person. It'll pop up this little box, and I could choose to call myself right now, and I won't. Same thing with email. You can have it automatically open up your email, which is really cool. And now I've done something. Oh, good, I didn't break it. Now, if you were to fill out this information box and hit click to submit down at the bottom, it would open up one other page of my site that just says thanks. I think it's really important that you give a confirmation to someone when they filled out a contact form that, hey, I did get your message. Thank you so much. And my thanks page is just a, hey, thanks, I got your message. I'll be in touch as soon as I can. And here are a few more photos, and here are a couple other ways that we can get in contact. Facebook page, Pinterest, Instagram. And so I took the approach of, I just wanted one really long, simple page, because I figure if this is enough to get you interested in me, you'll send me a message. And then I put a little note up at the top of my page that said, I'm so glad that you're here. Scroll down to find more information, and also make sure that you visit my site on desktop, because there's a lot more information on the desktop. But I know when I'm on my mobile, I want the information fast and quick, and I want to know, do I want to follow up with this person or not?
And so that's great. And so with that, you were going to demo a little bit of like how you can do that with Showit, with this new style group that is now when you go into. So you saw in the video that we said, okay, you click on that blue button, create your mobile site, go from there. So now, where would you go from here? So show us a little bit.
From here, I'm actually inside my mobile now, but I'm going to go ahead and create a brand new mobile site for you so that you can see. So if I'm going to come over here and I add a new mobile site, and we're going to call this Showit Live Mobile Gettin', because why not? I think it's so funny that they called it Mobile Gettin'. I mean, does it really have to be so scary sounding? I don't know.
If you're in the media, things need to be scary.
They do. That's the only way. That's the only way it works. And then you can click on Open New Site once you've created your new site. And I probably should save my current site so I don't mess that up. But you're going to come inside here, and you're going to be able to choose a style group or start your own. And so there are a couple in here. There's the Vertical, and this is actually from Melissa Love. And Vertical matches a free style group that's inside of Showit for desktop as well. And so if you've used the Vertical style group, you can use that. There's one in here also called Succulent Love, or you can start from a blank site. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Succulent Love style group, add that in. This style group has several pages. It's got a home page. It's got a thanks page for submitting the contact form, and then it's also got a wedding gallery page, and then another contact page. So if we scroll down here on the home page, you can see that all of this information is filled in, but you're going to want to customize it to you. And it's easy and simple. If you've done this inside of the Showit Designer, or even if you haven't, if you're brand new and you're not a Showit user yet, I'm going to show you how easy it is to click on this picture, or excuse me, on this color box, and let's change it to turquoise, because who doesn't love turquoise, right? So quick and easy, that's changed over. I can grab my send a message text, and I could turn that into a new font. And it's just fast, quick, and simple to change anything inside of Showit. That's a little hard to read when it's all uppercase, and so I can just change that to lowercase and adjust inside of the, oops. See, this is like when you have to type in typing class and the teacher looks over your shoulder and suddenly you don't know how to type anything at all, right? When someone is watching you. So it's really easy and simple to come in, pull pictures out. This is this wedding gallery button right here is actually linked to, if we go over and look at link in the right-hand side, that's linked to the wedding gallery page. So let me show you what that page looks like. And that page uses the one of the new widgets. It's called the Tiled Gallery. And when you see Tiled Gallery inside of the Showit Custom Mobile Designer, you'd want to click right there on Tiled Gallery and then come over to your Advanced tab on the right-hand side. And the Advanced tab is where all of the images are going to live for the tiled gallery. And so you're not actually going to be able to see them populate on the page. You're going to see them over here in the advanced tab under images. But if I were to do a preview of this page, and it'll build that preview nice and quickly for me. It's going to go through all 4 images and build it out. You'll be able to see how the tiled gallery works inside of there. So don't think you're doing anything wrong when you don't see those images pop up on the page. They're going to populate in the preview. And preview is one of my favorite features inside of Showit. Preview allows you to make changes to your site without having to first publish them out, unlike, say, WordPress. Whereas you're making changes, those things are happening live. I think that's a really cool feature that you guys built in to Showit. All right, let's go ahead and look at the preview of this site and see it come up. And obviously, it's going to look really large here because it's on my website, or excuse me, on my desktop. And if I click on Wedding Gallery, now I can see that tiled gallery. And the tiled gallery will actually sort of go on forever. It's somewhat infinite, right, in the number of photos that you can put in. But I think probably we all want to minimize our number of photos. You can actually, you can click on an image, and then it makes that image larger for the user. And so think about that image filling the entire space on your mobile phone. Is really cool. So I think tiled gallery is a really neat widget. And if you have questions about those, you can go and check that out on the wiki, or ask in the Facebook page, or even jump into chat support, and our guys would be more than happy to answer questions about that.
Yeah, and just like Christian was mentioning, who's one of our amazing support pros.
Support pro.
Yeah, he just let us know about the 5 custom mobile tips, and there's a couple great articles in there for building your custom mobile things, because there's a lot that we can teach you about the actual practical, like here's how you drag this, here's how we do that. But I think some of the things that really come out of it are like, what are you trying to accomplish when you build a site? Like, what are the things that are important that, as we look at even what you're showing on your device, that you have a button to click and call, or text. You can do text as well.
Right.
That it doesn't make as much sense on your desktop site to have a button that says text me. Yeah. Because where does that go, or what does that do? Yeah. But on your mobile phone, like, that's a great way, especially for younger brides that are just used to texting. Like, if your site says, hey, just click here and text me. And say, hey, I'd love to, get coffee, whatever it is. Like, I mean, there's just different intents that you want to have with what you're building. And so I think that's great to get those insights. And so a couple of those articles are really great, walking you through a few of those things, the practical of like how to do it, and why you do it.
And you can actually go back and watch the full video that Todd did of how to create a custom mobile site. I think that is up on showithere.com is where you can find that. And we'll make sure that you get the link to that as well. So hopefully what you are feeling now is that it's not so scary to get your site mobile friendly. It does take a little bit of time, but it's important that you're intentional with that.
Just like anything that you would do on your business for your marketing, the time that you invest there is very valuable to have good returns. We struggle with that question a lot. Like we talk about these things at Showit of like, how much do we just make automatic? Even just that WP Touch plugin, to a certain degree, it's just automatic for your blog. Right. But like, that takes away a little bit of the creativity that you can have with that. And so there's areas of that will be continuing to improve. And as we look at what we're going to be doing with blogs in the future, for those of you who made it out to WPPI, we had an amazing time having some backstage passes, and we showed a little bit about where Showit's going. So for those who the future of Showit, and some of those who have asked questions about, can I have a scrolling desktop site, and can I have, these things? I think right now we'll acknowledge that one of the things that's a little bit difficult is your desktop and mobile site are a little bit, different from each other, or separate sites, if you will. And so bring those closer together. So those are things that are that we're in development on. We continue to make progress.
Don't worry, I'm not working on any of that. The non-techie person.
No, but it's good for us to come on here every once in a while and say, here's our progress report. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we want to try to do. So we're really excited about what's coming with Showit and some of the new features around these ideas that continue to evolve. Someone is asking, Sarah Zimmerman is asking, is there anything to show the size of the entire site so I can make sure to keep the size down so load fast besides just trial and error testing? That is a great question, especially for mobile, of understanding how long it takes your site to load.
Right.
And I think more and more we're going to be adding tools that will help tell you that directly inside of Showit. But the best way to know is just to actually test it.
Right.
And if you look at some techie things,
Oh, scary.
techie things,
Put your seatbelts on, ladies.
yeah, put it on. You can actually pull up and see how big a page is on your site.
Okay.
And one of those is that Google has that mobile speed, the speed insights.
Okay.
And that thing will actually tell you how big everything is.
Okay.
But one of the other things that you can do, and I will pull up a site real quick here.
Okay.
I'll use Safari. So let me push.
Todd
no.
was about to open Google Chrome.
Oh man, we're gonna open Google Chrome.
All right. Is it now? Well, here's a totally aside. Is Chrome? Is it a faster browser?
Oh man, I love Chrome so much better. I don't know.
Todd may own stock in Google. I don't know.
I don't know why anybody uses. Why anyone uses.
Because I'm a diehard Apple girl,
You're a
right?
diehard Safari user, I know.
Diehard Safari user. So Todd's going to pull up the site and show you some of the tools inside of Google Chrome that are right. They're built in there. They're developer tools, and you don't have to be a developer to look at these things, which is really cool.
So I don't know if you saw what I just did, but I went ahead and clicked on tools up here in the top right, and then I said developer tools, and sorry, more tools, developer tools, and then click on network. What you actually get to see is you get to see a list of every file that got loaded on your site, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So if you look down here at the bottom, you'll see there's a number that says 96 requests and 894 KB transferred.
Wow.
So this just gives you
an insight
and a lot of detail, like maybe more detail than you want to know. But as a developer, I'm interested in those things too. So it's a great question. You can just say like, hey, how big is this page to load?
Right.
Because you want to know on your mobile phone is it going to be. And when you're building your mobile site, you can launch that URL, so like mobile.Elizabeth Langford, and then test that one. And say like, okay, how long is this page and how long is that one?
So this is where you want to be thoughtful of the number of images that you've put on your site, both in the design, the aesthetic, and then just the sheer volume of maybe putting 15 images as opposed to 45 on a page. Yeah,
and really one of the things that is ideal is when you're importing your photos into Showit, that a lot of times, we're going to resize them to make them web friendly.
Okay.
But if you're gearing them for a specific spot on your site, it's a lot of times best to import them at the size that you would like them to be at. So a lot of our designers get more experience in this, but you'll drastically, so for instance, if our default size for an image is 1400 pixels for the large one, but really you're only going to need on a mobile phone at maybe 800 in the area that you're using it at or something like that. Importing it at 800, like already compressed, is going to make it faster. Like that just is the nature of how it's going to work. And you have that option in your mobile gallery as well to choose the size image that gets loaded. Because we have a medium size image that I think is 800. If I remember correctly, 800. And so then that 800 size image would get used. And so that's another way to instantly help out galleries that might feel slow, is to go ahead and choose that size. Now, depending on which gallery and how big it is, then you might have options on how you want to use it. Joel was asking us about responsive and what does that mean? Does that make it a difference for Google? Like if your site is responsive versus
as opposed to custom?
Well, the thing about it is responsive is a fun term, because it gets thrown around as different things.
The techie people think it's a fun term.
Yeah, it's a fun term because ultimately responsive accomplishes a goal. And so a goal is that your site looks good across devices. Like that's the end goal, right? And Google cares about that for sure. And so we care about that for sure as well. So from day one of Showit, like our sites being different than everyone else, like the desktop site sizes to your browser, like there's never a scroll bar. It was always meant to be this experience of like no matter what you came in. So we were kind of doing responsive before it was called responsive in a way, in the sense that like we care that your site looks good on all screen sizes. Now,
Right.
when the mobile devices came out, now all of a sudden you can't really scale without needing some changes because
Okay.
you need to get things bigger, or you need to have things formatted for touch. I mean, touch makes things way different on how you can
Right.
do interfaces. So that's where when we introduced the custom mobile, you can gear an experience directly for touch. And
Okay.
now with using those two, you have the same results as responsive in the sense that your site can look good across all devices and all screen sizes, which is the
Okay.
end goal.
Right.
So the question of is it necessary? It's not necessary. The end goal is what we're going after.
Okay.
And the question is, the idea is when Show It will be a responsive site. I mean, those are things that we're continuing to improve upon on how that looks, because part of being like a traditional responsive site is you give up a lot of your creativity,
Okay.
and that was a little bit
Yeah, that's hard on artists. We don't want to do that.
yeah. A traditional responsive site, you start to move things and all of a sudden it all moves around and squishes in different ways. And it's like, oh man, now you're dealing with lots of breakpoints is what they call it in responsive. And for a creative, it's going to get techie, like way fast.
Yeah.
And if you want something to look a certain way,
Right.
it's tough to understand why and how and all those things.
Okay.
So what I will say is we're working on that problem, and we love that. We think we have a solution, and when we demo this to a few people, and everyone that we show it to, we show it to our design partners, and
One of them cried. I'm not kidding. She cried.
Yeah, we think what we want to do in that area for what we think responsive should be for a creative.
Right.
I think we're going after that hard, and we're excited to have to get to continue to show you guys that more and more.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to have that in everyone's hands to use in that way.
There's some amazing things happening. Our developers are doing
Yeah.
some really cool stuff right now.
Yeah. So I mean, that's not to take away from, we love Show It as it is.
Yeah.
And we think there's some great things that we learned and that are really good about what's happening. And as you build out your designs and show it, I think that's going to be great as we transition to what's happening as we go ahead.
Well, just the ability to be able to create a custom mobile site that is intentional, I think it's just such an advantage to me as a Show It user and to all of our Show It tiers to have the option to do that and not be told it has to be this way. You're stuck in a box. You're really not. I think that's one of the cool things that about Adam's site that we just showed earlier is that Adam did not take the I'm stuck in a box approach when he designed his site. It's very cool and it's very intentionally mobile. Jamie Delane also has a great site that Meg Long did for her, and that's a fantastic mobile site. And there are so many great. Justin and Mary's mobile site is awesome. Their wedding site is really a neat experience, and it matches what their brand is. And Caitlin's mobile site, it's an experience that matches her brand. And I think as an artist, that's what we want, right? We want to make sure that we're conveying who we are through every touch point that we have. And this is a huge touch point.
Yeah. And more as you as other sites and things start to make these like standard boxes and just square everything and rectangles, just that's the standard.
Right.
When someone encounters a site that doesn't get stuck in boxes, and is outside of that, like.
And literally, you mean boxes, like.
Yeah. Like square spaces. I know. No, but like when you get stuck in boxes, you can't design outside of that, and I think that's one of the things that we're about. We believe that you should have that freedom to be creative and create something that is the experience that you want when someone, because this is your shop windows. It's like when someone walks by a retailer and they see the front window. And if everything is stuck and you're like, no, I want to have a display that does this. You're like, no, it has to stay this big. It has to get stuck here and there. It's like, we don't want to do that to someone who's creative. Like we want to be able to give them a shop window that says, this is who you are. This is your business. And this is what we want to be. So that's our vision. That's our goal. So.
Well, we love it. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's really exciting. And hopefully now, if you were scared at the beginning of the show, you feel a little bit better and you're reassured that that you can go in and you can create this custom mobile site using drag and drop, just like you did on your desktop site.
Yeah.
There are a couple of new mobile style groups that we said that are in there. We're going to be adding a couple more to that. And feel free to take those apart, break them down, move them around, make it work for you, make it you, and don't hesitate to ask questions. We're here and we want to help you. We love you guys. So and being able to help you, it fills us up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's awesome. I'm so glad you were here today. I'm glad you came back from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's an amazing place.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you. I'm glad to be on here once in a while. This is not always my natural element, but I love what we're doing here at Show It, and always feel free to send me a message, and if you have questions, we'll try to get back to you, and start that conversation, because we believe in artists and we believe that photographers should have that freedom, and we were built on that, and we continue to carry that flag and that vision forward. And so I'm excited to be here, and it's inside of me, like, I can't wait to show you what's next. So
it's so good. It's so good. And what we have now is so awesome. So it's exciting to think that we're just gonna raise the level.
Yeah, raise the bar, keep going. So
it's exciting. All right, guys. Well, we hope that you'll join us next week. Field Denny will be back from the Connect retreat, and we'll find out all about that from him. And then I think Shannon Cronin is going to be our guest next week.
Yes.
Talk about an amazing artist, and it'll be exciting to talk to Shannon about her business. She has done some amazing travels around the world, actually. And so we'll get to show you some of her photos and find out a little bit more about her. If you have questions, join us in the Facebook group. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. We want to help you guys, and we're excited for the future. And we'll try and get Todd back in here more often. So, all right, guys, have a great Tuesday show. Cheers. We love you.
Right.